So, second question for you.
Mhm.
Okay, so you mentioned it, battling doubt, fear, and the weight of survival. So, what were some of the biggest mental and emotional hurdles you had to overcome,
Hurdles.
and how how do you pronounce it?
Hurdles.
Hurdles. Oh,
Yeah.
that's kind of
Mm.
hard for me. Hurdles. Okay, you had
Yeah.
to overcome, and how did you turn those challenges into action?
Mm. Okay, my biggest challenge. My biggest challenge is to sit in front of a camera and speak to audience. That's my biggest challenge. And when I first started, I it was because I am not someone who ever sat in front of social media, or to go on social media and put out what I have out there. And if I start doing it, it is just like someone who doesn't even know what she's doing. And my hurdle was is and I had my family to cheer me along. That's one part I loved. I remember I went back home, and my elder sister and my the sister that what she's the one before the last. Yeah. And they all cheered me, and they were saying, I can do that, I can do it, and I can do it. So, if you when you get the support of your family, and but one thing with them, they don't really like going in front of the camera, because I do it on my own. Right. And when I came back here, my son and my niece, and and those around me, they all cheered me and say, you can do it. Just do what you have to do, and just, and we will just let you do your own thing. And the other one again, my other biggest challenge is, when to the tech savvy, and to do the different thing. It's still a challenge, but with the help of the community, I am still, that the community helps you overcome, because we have the webinars where we can get the live webinars, where we can get the training. We have the daily drop-ins where we can go in every day and watch. And even you can just text the anyone on the community and put out a question, and the community will help. So these are that's one of what that help me overcome my challenges. And when I heard the testimonies of others, how they started and where they are, and they are still, so I it helps me know that, no matter where I am right now, I can overcome any hurdles that are in my way. And one more thing is, sometimes I feel down, yes, and but I'm not staying down, because I have my why, and I know why I started the business. So I am still going strong, and any challenges that come, it goes down, and I go back up. That's it.
That's good. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, I do agree with you, um like for example, you mentioned it lastly, there's gonna be moments where you're gonna feel down, and that's normal. Like this journey, it's not an easy journey. There's like ups and downs. But when you feel down, um if you have the right mindset, if you are plugged into the community, if you're doing your training, and working on your mindset, you will have your moment down, because we are humans, we have
Yeah.
to let those emotions out. But the difference here is that you take a pause to reflect and to let those emotions out. But then after that, you bounce back and you continue your journey. So you need that moment to reflect and to
Mhm.
recharge, to see, okay, um, I have done my pause, my reflection. Now let's keep going. This is just a lesson, or this is just a moment. Because every setback, or every when you feel down, it will teach you something. But it all depends how you
Yeah.
look at it. But it will teach
Yep.
you something. It will remind
Mhm.
you. Because I've been
Mhm.
there. That's you. I had my moment where I fell down, and I was questioning myself. Those self doubts came in, but I questioned
Mhm.
myself. would I want to go back to where I was, what I was doing, or do I
Mm,
want to continue my journey to build that better lifestyle for me and my family? So those, that why will come up to your mind, and it will
mhm,
say, do you want to go back? No, you don't want to go back. You want to keep going forward. You don't want to go backwards. So
mhm.
um, that's what really helps you in your journey, to remember the why. So that's why, like we always say, like you have to have a strong why, a
Yeah.
why that will make you cry. Because if you don't have a strong why, then you don't have that fuel to push you moving forward. So
Mm,
if you have a strong why, then nothing is going to stop you. Yes, you will have your moments, but then you're going to bounce back and you are going to continue. So I do agree with you with what you share, because this is not an easy journey, and we do have our moments when we feel down. But one of the things that you mentioned there, that it also helps you to stay on track, is attending, get plugged in into the system. Like we have those masterminds on Wednesday, where we have a member of our community who share their stories.
mhm,
And that's what you were mentioned before, like when they hear the stories, um, and they have achieved their milestone, we see their stories, and we think, like, oh wow, we thought that our life, our journey was bad, but when we hear their stories, it's even worse, and we say, like, well,
mhm.
if they did it, so can we. So that's
Yep.
an inspiration.
Mhm,
So I remember one of the stories that I saw on the masterminds.
mhm,
That's the one that I always remember, that one, because it's that member of our community was like, there was never a light end of the tunnel. Like when you thought there was going to be a light at end of the tunnel, suddenly something comes up. So it was like that. and
mhm.
and I say, wow. And she is today very successful, and I was like, okay, if she was able to make it through all those challenges and setbacks, and she never give up, she keep pushing forward, then so can we. We can do it. So those are stories that, from our community, that will keep you inspired to be continue your journey. And the other thing you mentioned, like you were not tech savvy. And yeah, it's okay, because like we think that for this business, you need to be tech savvy, but no, you don't need no knowledge, no tech savvy experience, because everything is given, here to you. Like we do have that video based training, so that you can follow along at your own pace. And like you mentioned, you have the support of the community too. So whenever you have a question, you can ask, and someone will help you, to answer that question. And you also have the mentor and the coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're never alone on this journey. And that's one of the greater things, that um, helps you to be able to succeed in this business, because all the tools, all the support is there for you to be staying plugged in. So it's really about us,
Mhm.
um, to stay plugged into the system and to keep pushing forward,
Yeah.
um, because we have to believe in ourselves, that we are capable of doing things that we thought that we couldn't do it. Like for example, going live. Look at you now. You're going live now, and you're going live on your own too.
Yeah.
So
Mhm, mhm.
yeah, you just have to believe in yourself, and then anything that you set your mind to, you can achieve. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. It takes time. It takes you sort of baby steps, but eventually you get there.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of um, doing the training, get plugged into the community, networking with the community. That's another thing, because some people like to
Mhm.
stay in the bubble. So if you stay in your bubble, you don't grow. It's when you
True.
go outside of your comfort zone and you start reaching out to the community, that's when you start growing up, because you get to meet other people that are ahead of your journey. So you get to learn from them. How did they do this? Okay, and you can ask questions.
Mhm.
So that's the growing part of this journey, getting out of that comfort zone, and reaching
Yeah.
out to ask questions. So thank you so much for sharing those, because we all relate that that's part of our journey, and that's part of
Yeah.
our growing, and creating, building that self development, and working on that mindset. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.